What is up, guys? It is the Blue Bloods here, back with our final Week 9 college football preview, man. And I'm pumped for this one. This is our SWAC game of the week. Y'all know what that means. If you're new to the channel, what that means is comment your score prediction below. If you get the score right, predict the correct winner, you win our $50 Venmo giveaway. Just drop your Venmo after the game if you get it right. Venmo you $50, man. I appreciate y'all support. If you're new, smash the subscribe button as well. And everybody go ahead and like this video, man. But we got our game of the week, man, down in Baton Rouge, down in Mumford Stadium for the second straight week. We got our game of the week down there in Baton Rouge. But this one is extremely important for both teams as we have Alcorn traveling down there to face Southern 6 p.m. Central Time live on ESPN Plus. And I am sure there's going to be some YouTubers streaming this somewhere, so you can probably find it on YouTube as well. And if you know who I rock with, y'all know it's probably going to be on his channel as well. But this game, man, is going to be huge. I mean, it has SWAC championship implications, and it really could be a season-defining game for both of these programs, in my opinion. And let's set the stage real quick before we get into the actual game. You know, Alcorn comes into this matchup right now, right in the thick of this very competitive at SWAC West race with Prairie View. They enter at 5-2, undefeated in the SWAC at 4-0, and they're coming off a big win against Texas Southern, where a lot of people were, potentially saying they could be upset. They handled their business and come into this one with all the momentum in the world, man. And when you look at what they have to accomplish, a win here really just continues their run to the SWAC championship, and it really just solidifies that it's a Prairie View Alcorn race to see who can get to that final game. And this is a must win because if they drop this one, they still have two huge games against Prairie View and Jackson State. And it would just put so much pressure on Fred McNair and this program to try to have to win out if they end up being upset in this game. So for me, I think this is a must win because then to get to the SWAC championship, you have to go undefeated through that tough, final 2 week stretch of PV and Jackson State. So this game is huge for the Braves. And when you look at what Southern has coming in here, 3-4, 2-2 in the SWAC, and this is absolutely a must win. This is a must win for the fan base. This is a must win for this program, the morale of the team. And even if you just want like a miracle shot at the SWAC championship, like if and Alcorn fall down the stretch, you would have a miracle outside shot. But I mean, if you lose here, you might as well just pack it up for real for next season. And this is really going to be a true test of, what type of program culture is at Southern right now. Are they going to stand up and fight, or is everyone just kind of packed it in for the season due to the coaching uncertainty, due to a big loss last week to Prairie View? This is going to be a huge game to see where Southern is, and if they can pull the upset, they throw a huge wrench into this SWAC championship race. So this weekend's game is extremely important for a lot of even other teams outside this matchup in the SWAC. But when you look at the series, it has a long history dating back into the 50s. But right now, Alcorn owns the series right now 40-27 with two ties. And they're currently, listen, this is going to make some Southern fans mad. They're currently on a 5 game win streak. Technically, Southern won in the spring due to forfeit. Alcorn's on a 5 game win streak until you beat someone on the field, not counting that forfeit win in this series. So I would say Alcorn's on a 5 game win streak, but if you ask Southern fans, they won the last matchup in the spring by forfeit. But the stage is set, guys. Let's get to the keys of the game for Alcorn. It's all, and these two teams, their identities are a little bit different, but the keys are going to be very similar. It's got to be the rushing attack for Alcorn because when the rushing attack is going for this team, it really allows this offense to reach another level of productivity. And also, Felix Harbor really relies on his rhythm and consistency and kind of getting into the game slowly. So if you have that rushing attack early to help him ease into it, it really helps him down the stretch of the game. And it also with the wide receivers that Alcorn has against this secondary for Southern, to be able to run the ball efficiently and get some one-on-one matchups outside for Harper, Bowler, Pringle, some or all these guys to really take advantage on the outside, that's going to be a key. When you look at the rushing attack, it's been solid, over 160 yards per game. That's third best in the SWAC right now. And it's really been the catalyst for some big performances. You look at the second half explosion of the run game against UAPB to help them lead that comeback. And then also a big win over Grambling, a very tough Grambling defense, over 200 yards rushing that game. And it all starts with Nico Duffy, man, one of the best running backs in the SWAC, man, over 560 on the ground, 3 touchdowns. And then also Stafford Anderson, over 200 yards rushing, but he missed a lot of time with the injury. He's only seen action in 3 games, but his highlight performance this year was at 130 on the ground. He had in week 1 where he was really the main source of offense in that MEAC SWAC challenge to open up the season. So these two guys are going to be key for what Alcorn wants to do. You're going to see a heavy dose of Duffy, and I think you're also going to see an even heavier dose of Anderson, as this is just another week back from injury and he's kind of getting his feet underneath him. And on top of that, you also have to account for Felix Harper and what he can do outside the pocket with 4 rushing touchdowns this season. So really and truly, Alcorn can attack you in so many different type of ways. So that's why this rush game is so important for me this game. And then also, Felix Harper has been slowly kind of getting into his rhythm. I mean, if the run game is clicking, Harper really thrives. And this could be a big one against a Southern secondary that has allowed multiple 300-yard passing games. You look at Andrew Body at Texas Southern, and then even also, he didn't throw for 300, but Jawan Pass had a big game last week down at Mumford Stadium. So that's going to be something to watch, is if Southern has to load the box to stop the run, what can Felix Harper do on the outside against a banged up Southern back into that defense? But he's known for over 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 picks. He's top 4 in passing yards and passing yards per game. And he's also number 4 in passing touchdowns. He's third in passing efficiency, and he's top 4 in fewest interceptions in the SWAC. So Felix Harper has been doing it on a big level. And the X factors on the outside for me, LaCharles Pringle and CJ Bowler have been playmakers at the wide receiving spot for Alcorn this season. They both have been explosive threats, and they've really and truly are going to be someone Southern has to game plan for on the outside when you look at some of the deficiencies they have on the back end of that defense. Because Pringle over 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, and Bowler's averaging over 22 yards a catch this season, guys. And both of these guys are top 10 wide receivers in yards per game in the SWAC. Pringle's top 5 in receiving touchdowns, and Bowler's second in the SWAC in yards per catch. So that just shows you how balanced that Alcorn can be when everything's clicking. That's why for me, when you look at their offense, a lot starts with the running game helping out the passing game. So that's why you got to establish the run early, allow Felix to get comfortable on the road, work into his game. And once that rhythm picks up, then you can become much more balanced in your approach. But the number one things for me, efficiency by Felix Harper. Try to be as efficient as possible. Yes, I know that Felix Harper usually doesn't complete 70% of his passes. If he can hit like 63 to like 66%, Alcorn's going to be in business. 2, avoid turnovers. When you have a team that is ultimately going to try to control the clock and run the ball with Southern, you cannot give them extra possessions. So Felix Harper has to be on and cannot turn the ball over. And then 3, explosive plays. That's how you look at that Prairie View game. That's how they really did it. Texas Southern. If you can get explosive plays on this defense, that's how you can win in a big way against the Southern defense. So the run game with Duffy and Anderson, Harper, Bowler, Pringle, all these guys have to generate explosive plays this weekend. Those are the keys in both the run game and the pass game for me. And when you look at the key for Southern, man, it's like always, man. I mean, even Southern fans, FAMU fans, Jack Safe, whoever's tuned in, y'all know what Southern does. They run the football. This offense does not operate well without a rushing attack operating at a high level. If they can't move the ball on the ground, they're in trouble. And that was the case last week. Yes, they had over 100 yards rushing as a team, but they didn't have a 100-yard rusher. They had zero explosive running plays against that Prairie View defensive front. And if that happens this weekend, Southern's going to be in major trouble. They have to get it going on the ground and avoid what happened last week down the stretch against Prairie View. Now, they're still leading the SWAC in rushing. They were averaging over 220 yards per game. They also are leading the SWAC in rushing touchdowns with 14, and they're leading the SWAC in yards per carry at almost 5.5 yards per carry as a team. You look at Kobe Dillon, man, one of the best young players in the SWAC right now. Our guy Smash picked him to be his freshman of the year at this point. But, Dillon over 476 rushing yards. He's averaging almost 10 yards per carry right now and 4 rushing touchdowns. He is the leading rusher in the SWAC right now in rushing yards, yards per game, and yards per carry for running backs. So Kobe Dillon is having an outstanding year. He's going to be an X factor for Southern. He has to improve upon what he did last week against Prairie View. I don't think this defense for Alcorn is as good. So I think he should have a few more opportunities to get some explosive plays. They need Kobe Dillon to be himself this weekend. And then you also have Devin Ben over 400 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. He's top 10 in the SWAC in rushing yards per game, rushing yards, and rushing touchdowns. Then you still also have Craig Nelson as a potential rotational piece with over 250 and over 7 yards per carry. So this run game, they're going to have to establish the line of scrimmage with the offensive line, and they're going to have to control the pace of the game, control the clock, and establish some drives, man. Down the stretch, that's what killed Southern against PV. Not establishing drives really wore their defense down in the long run, and then Jawan Pass in that run game really took advantage of it. So that's going to be a big key for Southern this weekend. It's just be yourself. You have to play Southern football if you expect to win this game. Now, the other key, and everyone knows what's coming, it's the huge question mark at quarterback. You saw the Darius Skelton and Bubba McDaniel take snaps last week. They both left a lot to be desired through the air. Let's just be honest. And that's something they're going to have to figure out this weekend. Now, Bubba's thrown for over 700 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 2 picks, while Skelton's went over 300, 4 touchdowns, 4 picks. Bubba is by far, in my opinion, the more efficient passer. But what Ladarius Skelton brings to you in terms of athleticism also is something that is very hard for defenses to account for. So I think this offensive, being late in the season, they're going to have to find a way to rotate these guys and each have, I would say have packages for each of them that highlight what they do best is what I would say. So have some packages with Skelton that can get him on his space and make plays, give him some high percentage throws. While when you need to take a real shot downfield or get that intermediate game working, you can get Bubba involved in the game. We'll have to see how it works, but right now they're averaging the lowest amount of passing attempts in the SWAC, and they have the number 10 ranked overall passing attack in the SWAC right now. But avoiding turnovers is key and just finding some consistency. I'm not asking them to go out there and throw for 300 yards, but you have to be consistent enough through the air where teams can't put 8 in a box and say, you can't beat us, deep, you can't beat us over the middle. Like, we're just going to play one-on-one outside and we're going to put 8 in the box and you're not going to run the ball. That cannot happen this weekend against this Alcorn defense. So for the matchup to watch, for me, it has to be the Alcorn offensive line against the Southern D line. And because for me, this is a strength versus a major weakness, because don't let Southern's performance last weekend with 0 sacks fool you. They were playing the best SWAC offensive line right now. I mean, PV's allowing the least amount of sacks in the SWAC right now. And when you look at this Braves offensive line, they're allowing the most sacks in the SWAC with over 22. They're tied with A&M and Jackson State right now with 22 sacks allowed. So this makes for an extremely interesting matchup this weekend. Now, Southern's pass rush is banged up. They have a lot of injuries across that defense, but there's a chance that some key guys return this week, and that's going to be a huge key in this game. They have 2 or more sacks in every game but 2. One was against their FBS money game, Troy, and then PV last week. But I mean, they had a 4 sack performance against Mississippi Valley. They've had 3 sack performances. They're going to need a big weekend out of their front seven. Jordan Lewis is the leading sack guy. He didn't see any action this past weekend, but based on some people I talked to, he could be healthy enough to play this weekend. I'm assuming he's probably a game time decision. But then you also got Davin Cotton at defensive tackle, 1.5 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, and All American Jalen Ivey is still on that defensive line as well. Experience, can play multiple positions. So those are two of the other guys to watch for Southern. Alcorn, though, their offensive line has given up 2 or more sacks in every single game this season and gave up a season high 6 against Arkansas and Pine Bluff a few weeks back. This offensive line, solving it and figuring out where the pieces go is going to be huge for Steve McNair's or Fred McNair's squad on Saturday night. And so for me, I think what needs to happen is they've shown improvement week in and week out. I mean, look at that 6 sack performance. They had some guys banged up and things like that, but down the stretch they've been playing very, very well. So for me, I think Alcorn's going to have enough to hold up for the most part. I still think Southern gets some sacks, but for me, I think Alcorn has shown enough improvement to overcome this matchup. And for me, getting into this prediction, I honestly think, man, I just right now, Fred McNair's team is just playing so efficiently down the stretch. Yes, it's not always pretty, but they're more balanced. And if there needs to be a play made in the clutch, I trust I trust my guy Triggerman to make the play in the clutch to win this game, even on the road. And I don't think this Alcorn team is going to be shaken by the environment, by the road matchup, anything like that. I predict a big night for Nico Duffy. I think they force a few turnovers for Southern. So for me, I have Alcorn pulling this one out 34-28 over Southern this weekend in a big win down there in Baton Rouge. So I got a 6 point win for Alcorn this weekend, guys. It's our game of the week. So comment your score predictions below and make sure to predict your winner and tell me what you think about the game of the week in the SWAC band. And make sure to tune in 6 p.m. Central Time on Saturday to catch this game. But guys, if you're new, smash the subscribe button and go ahead and like this video. I appreciate y'all rocking with me and supporting. You can go check out our Week 9 college football content for all our preview videos. We got a dope interview with Sam Herder from Hero Sports breaking down the midseason review for the entire FCS as well. And I will be back on Sunday with our instant reaction episode. And then also Monday, y'all know what it is. It's our SWAC recap dropping at 8 a.m. live right here on YouTube. And also start submitting y'all's questions for Tuesday's mailbag, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, live right here on YouTube. We talk any and all things college football. So go ahead and submit your questions now. But guys, hope y'all have a good weekend. If you're traveling to the games, y'all be safe. But until then, man, the Blue Bloods are out.